Get started. Welcome everybody. Project management day. We've got our team assembled here at the table. Let's just do introductions really quick. I'm Jennie Knight, City Administrator here in Harrisville.
Justin Schnitzel, Public Works Director.
Matt Robertson, City Engineer.
Doug Jepson, Planning Water System.
Ryan Barker, Northview Fire District.
Heidi McCann, Michelle Taylor.
Jack Holden, City Reporter.
And Gabriel, Commission Chair.
So we have as the first agenda, a proposed mixed use concept for parcels located approximately 2,500 north at Highway 89, correct? Much more on to the table, correct? We got a digital copy of your plan.
Yeah, we printed a bunch out. That's okay.
We just have our plan. Sorry, Brandon, you're gonna have to go off of our assessment here.
Yeah.
Okay, so this just for share the location in the city on GeoGizmo. So this is the area that we're discussing, correct?
Yep. And the parcel below it.
And this here.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about your proposal here.
Yeah, so we're with the Holland Group. And primarily throughout the Wasatch Front, we do commercial and mixed use development. We were looking in this area for a couple of national commercial tenants. And we connected with the landowner because we think it's a great corner piece, and Highway 89's as we all know, a good northern Utah arterial. And so that's what attracted us to this location. And then little by little, part of the mixed use background that we have, we introduced some different variety of housing behind that commercial use. And so we're excited to get your feedback. We'd love to, we have done a little bit of legwork with, I think you guys individually, but we would love any other feedback that you might have. And that's really what we're here to do.
So help us understand what your concept plan includes here, the fronting property to Highway 89.
So yeah, everything that you see on the left-hand side of that page fronting 89, there is some existing buildings there. That's you can see it on this section here.
They're here, these.
Those are Steam's existing buildings?
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's there, what attracted us to this location is this northern section corner right here. We have multiple users that would like to be here. What we've shown on this particular plan is a convenience store gas station. And then behind that, we have some flex retail / office. And then on the front end, we have potential for a drive-through or also flex retail office.
So from that explanation, everything this direction is commercial.
Yeah.
And the existing buildings are going to remain, I guess, according to this plan.
So that's part of the. Yeah, we think that there's two commercial phases, and you can kind of see that dark line in between the two commercial properties. So phase one will be on the corner, and then phase two that will happen and introduce more retail flex will probably happen in the future. So we don't know exactly when that will be. It is a larger building, and so we're looking at, do we reuse this building for certain things? Do we keep it the way it is, give it a facelift? But this could happen over a decade period, that second phase. But we are trying to plan around it. Our accesses will be shared. We have met with UDOT regarding access. And so what you see in front of you is really taken from some of those meetings. So we feel like we've really scrutinized this plan from that perspective, and you're looking at probably our 12th iteration of this plan. So we've scrutinized it pretty heavily. Skeen, who will continue ownership of that phase 2 and other parts of potentially phase 1, has scrutinized it as well.
So a couple things to dive into, and I know we probably talked on about the mixed use. So the mixed use code for this area is under the commercial subzone. Because our master plan, the general plan land use map is all pink. So our general shows that as being straight commercial. So that's how we determine what subzone is applicable to the property, is based on what does our future land use map show. So that requires 51% of the project to be commercial elements. Don't know if you've calculated that out as part of this draft. That 51%.
I think we're closer to 40% right now.
You guys are 11.3 acres of residential, but for
So you've got a third commercial and 2/3 residential.
And there's some things that we didn't like account for fully, like this is going to be those live work townhomes. Kind of
These here.
all of these here, and we didn't
Okay.
credit ourselves as much as we should have.
Okay, so that.
Very minimal here. We didn't know how it should have been put into the equation, so we did like 20,000 square feet or something like that.
Copperwoods, we calculated the square footage of the commercial space.
right, I think so.
So we do have other projects in the city that have done that. We've just calculated square footage of commercial space and that
Count towards it.
counts towards the commercial. So that would increase your commercial to get up to the 51%. And then I guess the other discussion item, just at a glance, right? We're just kind of taking a really high dive on this, but the commercial uses for mixed use vary slightly from our regular commercial uses. Because there's residential impact, by what's there. So we typically, convenience stores aren't allowed in a mixed use project because people typically live next to them. I don't really see a huge concern if they're buffering it with additional commercial here. But that's not an allowed use. It's spelled out in our code. Having said that, these are all adopted by a development agreement, our mixed use plan, so they go through the same process as a land use ordinance. So there is some negotiation that takes place between the city and the developer to make that happen. So if we get the commercial up to the 51%, I think we could talk about the convenience store. I'm not gonna disagree that corner location especially, and I think we were on the call with you guys. Where they're unsure if that light is gonna happen on the highway.
Yeah.
Was that the conversation that we had at that time?
They kind of put a pin in that.
Right. So if it ever did, I don't want to disagree that would be a really good location for a convenience store. But that's gonna be a kind of a challenge to kind of get that down. So typically, this is the definition of what commercial uses, retail, commercial, food, beverage, personal service, which I imagine that's what you intend for all these flex spaces.
Yeah.
The other issue I would kind of want to address during the development agreement is what the future use of the existing buildings would be. construction company is currently operating out of that, and that is what not a lot of use issues either, so a timeline of when that would be, how that would be addressed would need to be included in the development agreement as well, so what that looks like. Other things from the team. Brandon, chime in if you've got, did you get a copy?
I texted him a picture.
Might not be able to chime in now, so.
He's well within this residential, the reflecting at a advertised HOA development. We're looking at, we want to turn these all over into city streets and city maintenance bills.
So yeah, this would be a community that would be self-maintained. We're gonna have some multiple amenities here. That what we're looking at would be private streets.
This is the, I'm just confused by it, this is the water section, right?
Yes, yeah. We'd have to understand that some of these wells look like they might need tournaments, virus access.
I think it's pretty good. I'm looking at the scale, trying to do my firefighting, measuring. Yeah. But yeah, that would be something we'd look at.
These data just have to be 150.
150 or less or less.
Yeah. What about even these ones in between units too, just kind of alleyway?
Yeah, I think we were aware of that 150 requirements.
You're probably, yeah, you're probably.
Okay, but the intent is everything would be private, all of it.
I don't want to speak for another agency, but I'm not sure, and other, with other kind of developments like this, they would stop, if you only like to push one, student. Instead of individual, but again, that would be what that would bond this to the sites.
Yeah, the thing with Bonavista, they don't want to own, they don't like to have any of their main line in private streets, to keep in public right of ways. So yeah, I guess it's they'll probably push for 1 or 2 master meters.
Will be the same way as far as secondary. Your problem is there's only 1 acre, not lower. Parcel, this one down here, there's an acre that's in the district, the rest is not. So you're gonna have to come up with water shares for your green space. Which would probably be Abby Ogden.
So is this only 1 acre is in Pine Views and it's not in master plan to annex it in?
I mean, they'd have to come up with water.
It's in
It's in the zone.
It's in the, they just have to annex.
Yeah.
Or they have to bring the water.
There, we don't have any of our water on there, 1 acre, so they're gonna come up with water share.
But it could be serviced.
Yes, yeah, we have a line. Existing line on 750 and down to 2550 on the north side, so.
What water shares are acceptable?
Or about. Irrigation. You're above the western, so it'd have to be above. Because we don't have any extra. You could work with our assessment clerk, she could give you. With your green space, she could tell you how many shares you could need to come up with.
I think we do have some, and we'll have to verify these with them.
Yeah. Yeah, because Bonavista won't let you use their water for landscaping, so you'll for secondary.
So looking at your density calculation. That's a really high density. Sorry, I'm just gonna throw that out there, 50 units per acre.
Density is always that topic where, we have projects right now that are 48 units an acre.
Yeah.
So we do realize that
We don't have.
in some jurisdictions, you know, high density means something completely different.
That's really. So how we close that. Just there at the moment, we don't, we're not close to the 15, we're maybe 8.
There's been one 6, no,
And
6. Copper was in the being, because that's. They were around. Like, seems to be.
I don't believe that they were as high as Dixon Creek. I think Dixon Creek was the highest at 8.
We had heard that. Maybe this is, we're trying to verify a little bit here. We had heard that this one was somewhere around 10 to 12.
This parcel?
Yeah.
We don't have a proposal for that. We've talked to someone about is there, but not mixed use.
They want to do a commercial thing.
They wanted to subdivide off the homes and then do a commercial behind it, but we don't have a mixed use concept for that.
So have you had a mixed use development come in and be approved?
No,
Okay,
No, we don't have anything.
not for that, but just in general in the
Yes.
city.
Oh, yeah,
And you,
not anything at this,
okay,
the highest density we've per acre.
what was the commercial that was being brought to those mixed use
The
projects that have been approved already?
It was a percentage, not, so we don't, they're not developed yet, so we don't have the commercial spaces filled. But it was a percentage because they're both,
They just went off.
well, the one project was a different subject, but yes, it was 51% commercial. So there's something to consider that the city is trying to accommodate with the housing requests, and I don't know if we've talked about, we have just specifically townhomes here, but affordability, the restrictions on a number of units. There are no single family homes, those tend to draw the council's attention when they're detached single family homes versus all homes. Looking for feedback from the negotiation committee too as well, so.
Concerns are the 7 logs, you look at those right there. And there's quite a few.
We did approve a couple in the amendment for Dixon Creek.
Okay.
2-story units.
Yes.
So what we do with a mixed use application, once we receive an application, we hold the public hearing and get resident feedback on the project. And then the mayor assigns a city council member and a planning commissioner to sit on the committee. And hash it out. And that way we have immediate feedback from people that are going to be approving your plan. And then we go through the development agreement, make sure that all the elements that are necessary are included in the development before we present it.
Yeah.
And sorry if I'm repeating myself, if we've gotten that far in our discussions before, but that helps us make sure that when you get to the point where you're asking for approval, because it is a zoning change, development of becomes the zone, that we know we've got some buy-ons on the people that are there before we, so you don't go through the whole, the staff with the staff. So that's why I bring out some of the things like density or what kind of things you can incorporate in your project that might help that process move forward.
Yeah.
Utility wise, do we have some concerns about servicing for sewer, storm drain? I know that Dave Skeen did a storm drain tie into UDOT.
Yeah, they're gonna be hiding in the storm drain, it's pretty large space.
That was here, but then the line.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
So storm drain lines are probably gonna be tying into either UDOT or Pleasant View. So I have to get a buy up on that.
There's too many.
He, apparently he tied some of that, too. So right here, and tied it in, and it's tied into the, which should be Pleasant View line that comes from here.
Yes, yeah.
Sewer, we have sewer at 750, there's some on the highway, and then there's Central Weaver's lines, it's out on 50. I think I sent those times over.
Yeah.
For the maps. Tell you about that. I'm sure we can make it work. One thing Justin and I would just look at is, we do want to look at. We gotta maybe look at this area as a whole a little bit too, and I'm just. There was talks in the past of development of this piece just to the south of you, and they were gonna bring a road out. Right here, but in this property, on the south side. Obviously, we won't have, wouldn't want roads stubbed into 750 west side close.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we need to look at. If we keep some of this road. Or if we keep this road. Public and have stub over to here for future. Development, I just don't, we have to look overall that we're not landlocking or making it difficult on neighboring properties. With how you develop this.
Cause this would have us up here, or.
That's what they're
this
showing.
connection here, And then we would have potentially have a connection, is what you're saying, Matt.
Yeah, they were trying to come through. So it looks like your road's coming through like right here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. This property owner owns this little strip as well. They were trying to get access on the 750 from here. How wide is that strip, do you know? That's a good question.
For the road itself, we're gonna do some, get more acquisition through Bay Ski. If you go look at that property, it's kind of like they show the house still in the, there was a, to get back into his property.
Was it a developer or a?
It was a commercial. It's actually really. The bar, what it's down was they're gonna redo the bar and do another connection. They couldn't get a high.
So it's 30 feet.
26 feet.
Okay, it shows 30 on the plat.
Oh, wait, sorry.
Oh, wait,
No,
yeah.
I'm looking at the wrong one. You're right. I was looking at the 30, sorry.
So it's showing that it's 30 feet.
And that's the Nicole Nunez. Yeah.
This- So this is the one you're talking about.
Right.
This is to the south.
Was it the Nunez group directly who was looking to
No.
develop? Or-
It was Mark Puna, it's the developer's name. We haven't heard anything from him in quite some time. But this was.
Brandon G, is that?
he's
Yeah,
our
I was
client.
just gonna say, sorry, would it be helpful if I reached out to them and talked to them about what their plans are? Because I think it would make a lot of sense as we're talking about this development and maybe future developments to make sure that we're developing this in a way that makes sense so that we don't create problems in the future.
Yeah, I think I do have his contact information. Still somewhere, and. I think it would definitely be worth a conversation to know what their plan is to move forward, whether.
Yeah.
Yeah, even if we got all parties around a table and just talked about it, but I'd be happy to reach out to that group and see what their plans are, if they've still got plans to develop or if they backed off of that, because it would be helpful.
Brandon Green.
Yes. So. What else you got for the initial feedback? So just kind of to recap some of the things, the type of commercial we'll want to address, the percentage, getting up to the 51%, whether that's a number of these 15, 25, 50, the density, if there's any kind of affordable housing element as part of the project.
There's requirements between the commercial and the residential.
There are in our normal code. We have had some unique situations in the other developments that it's like Dixon Creek is buffered by a park. So we didn't require any screening. Ben Lomond, it's the central.
Right.
So we didn't do any buffering there. So
This has two sections.
yes, so for sure we want to talk about this division between the residential.
Yeah, it looks like you could do something pretty simple.
Our screening requirements are under this code, 1124-080. Just so you can reference that. We do try to follow our code, can. I should say in our mixed use developments, that's not funny. We always try to follow our code. Yeah.
The 750 west, when you get up to here, well, it's a little closer. When they show it up to the right, so this road will eventually be widened. We have it in our transportation master plan to widen 750 west to the width of the collector. That right of way, I believe, is already 66 feet, I think, on 750 west. I'd have to double check that there. But we we'll want to look at whether we want to put those improvements in now or have some revisions for it.
Yeah, I would think at least the radius and the code together to be at that,
What do we want?
what we want in the future. As far as sidewalk, it's we might do good, as far as sidewalk, even when nobody else necessarily.
And then, but yeah, that may, that's that one. So that, I don't see that one being able to get that close to 70.
I will, let me give some positive feedback, though, like it just shredded this, but, thank you for putting driveways in towns, and there's 20 feet notice. That helps with parking. The, I'm assuming these are all front loaded, so they.
Most of them, yeah.
Okay. And. They're 2-story units. Are these brownish colored ones? Bigger, larger? They're about 4 foot?
Yeah, so we probably have, I can say 10 different temple types.
Okay.
So for the sake of what we're trying to do here, we wanted to share, and this is very still conceptual.
Right.
Based on a meeting like we're having right now. And thank you for your feedback, by the way. But yeah, we wanted to come here and show you that we've got multiple housing types that we're trying to put in here.
What's the difference between those? Because to us, it's town, right? So.
Yeah, so, and it doesn't show very well on this, but the lit work units could be 3 stories. All stuff down throughout, say we were in Davis County, our 3-story units with the bottom being garage and then a certain amount of square footage for commercial. So true lit work. We've learned in the past about the driveway, so absolutely that's important to us, where some townhome developers, yeah, they have no parking. So these would be 2-car garages with areas to park your driveway, so yeah, it's good. Potentially have 4 vehicles. Not that that's what we're trying to do, that's not our aim, but that's something we plan for. The inner units would be a little more safe, friendly to maybe a 55 and older, although we're not restricting age here. But where the out ones on 2550 north would be a little more, let's call it dense for the sake of just calling it that. And as you come into it, the orange units would be maybe a master on the main on end unit. So we try to differentiate ourselves that way. And then the other ones would be what we call our lane product, which should be probably about 22 by 45. So same kind of principle you could do, depending on what the family status is. Multiple people could live there. It's not just a 1 or 2 bedroom unit. So when somebody comes into this community, they quite literally could have multiple options to live in these townhomes. A lot of times what we see nowadays is, you have a sea of townhomes and it's pretty much, you can pick the A or the B. We try to avoid that just to give variety. We think it's a healthier community as time goes on. So just a couple of things that we've done on this. We haven't designated which one we're going to use on these yet, but we wanted to provide this as just a conceptual design. So some of those things we've learned, and it translates to this concept plan that you're looking at.
So typically what we've seen in our successful negotiations are buffering the existing residents with something besides townhomes. So we have a couple of projects where they've put single family units the existing residential areas. This is a little unique in that all of the residential units are across 750 West, or there's not a lot of them, I guess. Where other projects that impact residential more heavily than this project would, but I just throw that out there that when people see that we're going to have a concept plan that they're giving public feedback on there. You were amenable to a single family home versus townhomes if it's next door to their property.
Yeah, another thing I noticed is these live here, work ones around 2550. I mean, they may not be businesses that are visited by people, but I don't see additional parking really for. I mean, you have your driveways, obviously, but those are gonna be, they're gonna fill up their garage with their crap, park their cars in there, so there's not a ton of additional visitor parking. I don't waste those roads in there. So I'd be concerned that there's not much parking, especially for those units that may have some businesses in there. Possibly probably below here. So it's parking off 550.
Yeah, well, in your discussion, you'll have, make sure you have a conversation about what it is they're gonna require to be at 50. Because we don't own that road. But talking about visitors, there's kind of a sea of townhomes here on the east side, middles that are parking options.
Yeah. And the problem is, even if they have driveways, they're so close to each other, you can't, there's no on-street parking there because there's straw that. Spots from here up here, that's it.
We've got pickleball courts and a top lot. And a pavilion. And it's just like a small walking track or something.
Yeah, more just
amenities.
Yeah, grass area.
Just like that. Do you guys have any specific questions for our team?
So, yeah, overcoming the highest you've done is 8 units per acre. This concept shows the 50. That could be dead on arrival from our standpoint. So how do we maybe coach us on what do we do?
Yeah.
We can't do a mixed use project, the way we really think a mixed use project should be, with 8 units per acre. So, yeah, if you wouldn't mind maybe coaching us from, what do we do?
Yeah,
And is that, sorry, that, the way you've calculated it, is that 15.5 units per acre just in the residential, or is that?
Yeah, just in the residential.
It's just. Try to remember, we calculated the other, they just in the residential zone was well the entire problem. I'll double check those.
yeah, that's a good question.
Because
I know it's
I
overall,
looked at the entire area.
it's overall for Bedlam and for sure, and overall for Copperwoods. The one I'm questioning is Dexter Green because of the park.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Right.
because the park was such a large dedication to the city. I don't know how many, but we could look that up.
Overall, this would
So-
be 10 units an acre.
Okay,
We're to
well,
include commercial, like all of this.
Right, so then if you add, like, if we're looking
you're
at,
there.
we're adding some additional parking. We make it, right, you make it down closer to what the city's comfortable with.
So some of but to answer your question about what feedback on them. Some of the things the city has been willing to negotiate on affordable housing things because of the state requirements. We're interested in having conversations to bring, because townhomes, as beautiful as they are, them are $500,000. And we've had developers willing to deep restrict a percentage of the homes so that they're owner occupied. And using, whether you choose to use the state's options that they just passed in the legislative, if any of those fit your project, but you can look at the options that they have available, but some, right now, we just have the developers take advantage of their own resources to provide that. But that is of interest if we can provide it. What we've tried to do is make sure that that's affordable for our own people within Harrisville. Our people who work in Harrisville to provide affordable housing for them. So that's kind of been our most recent negotiation tool. Some of our other projects have given back to the community. One I'm referencing that has the 8 units, they dedicated a large parcel to the city for a park, a city public park. So that was very enticing to the city, have some entire community to use. Obviously, this project is probably not big enough to consider something that would benefit the entire city, but maybe that gets you going in a direction that helps. If it's 10 units per, that's a significant difference.
That's actually, yeah. Looks like Copperwoods is closer.
For the total acreage.
Copperwoods is closer to the 8 you're saying?
I need to double check. Is Copperwoods also on 89?
Yes.
Okay. Thoughts.
It's the one on the. So there, you can actually see now they've got one building built that's a commercial first floor. And the other existing buildings are residential, like they're starting to live here, work here. Now,
That commercial is kind of on the north end of the site, hugging 89.
and so
Yeah, I've seen that.
how many buildings do we have?
5 or 6.
So those are the main buildings.
They're all done. It's kind of just one.
That's,
Were all their townhomes live works or just the one?
just their portion here to that 51%. So the ones you see now that people are living in are just residential.
Okay.
Other questions?
No, that's
Yeah.
great.
Giving you enough to
Yeah, they were.
chew on for a little bit.
Absolutely.
Sweet about separation on that.
That's well.
It's 60 cross 6. side on these, it's not trying to name it, it's like a fourth or something here. That's more architect thing, but just is that you're planning those sites. I just don't know if we want to limit one exit, because then your occupancy level drops to 49. And you're struggling with to that point.
Sorry, can you say that again?
On this. You're just getting some separation there, because you're limiting to having only one. I mean, on the outside, you'd be fine, but on the inside, ones you'd be struggling, and it just really depends on what occupancy you're trying to get in there, because you're limiting to that 49 number. Yeah.
Okay.
And potentially fire sprinklers, because you got, yeah. That's gonna be, that's another thing that's goes in the back, the dividing walls are. Yeah, so you may be motivated to disconnect those, but I don't, you might have plenty.
Okay. Good, thank you very much.
Would you get, be open to a conversation and be able to get everybody to the table about there?
Oh, this one, yeah.
That case.
Yes. And did we kind of explain the process if they go through agency's development meeting? What we do this with the committee?
Yeah, once we get an application from you, that you nail down the concept. It's going to be, you'll apply for the mixed use zone. And then set up a public hearing. And then get to the committee and just take that feedback. And start working.
On that note, would you advise us to take a lot of these things that you've said, apply them, and then apply?
Yeah.
Get to where you're comfortable, right? It's gotta be a viable project for you.
Yep.
So whatever you can take feedback that we've just here, implement as much as you possibly can.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And then I think you've said this, in 2550, 100% of it is a Pleasant View.
Yes.
So your access is possibly your utilities, definitely the infrastructure requirements on. There's no improvements, there's no improvement for their sidewalk right there, 2550, so whatever their requirements are, probably need to be considered in your project costs. And then we did have that initial meeting with UDOT, and then they didn't bring up any huge concern that I remember. I know that they talked about an access here, they wanted to make sure we had an access on 750, that's what I remember. And Pleasant View's on that call, if I remember right too. About 2550. Yeah. So, yeah.
Sorry, last question on this 2550 north and 750. Do you know the group who is active with this project? I thought you said there was a name.
There is, I want to say Satterthwaite was the last name.
Cecil.
Cecil, yeah, it's right. Cecil, that's. Try and say that, Cecil Satterthwaite.
I'm not even gonna try.
This is the staff.
Diesel. Right, that's okay.
Yeah, he's the one that proposed something, but we have not received an application. He's just talking in this group about concepts.
Thank you for your feedback.
Thank you. Would you like your papers back? You try not to let them float around until you get out.
All this, I need to be here for.
Okay, thanks, Doug.
Just have to. I see. Oh, yeah, on Monday, you say your dad was posted, so.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, well, congrats.
I haven't, yeah, I haven't posted, but he sure has. Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, Furever Friends, site plan.
Jenny, I'm sorry, I didn't chime in much. Everybody was cutting in and out, so I just listened the best I could.
Hi, Brandon. Thank you for your input on that. I will get you the contact.
Okay.
Information.
All right, and I'm happy to help with whatever else we need help with too. So I know that developer.
Okay. So this is,
Are you sharing the screen?
oh, I'm not. Brandon, sorry, let me bring you along with us. You see that, Brendan? Okay. So what do we need to talk about here?
Okay, in our previous meeting, we were told we need to revise the site plan we have. And we've done that. So where from here? We've gone to a lot more work than you see here. We've involved an architect and to do the addition, which would be an animal care center, adoption area for people to come in.
This space,
The plan,
this
yes,
space here.
yes.
So that's would be an addition, okay?
So first, we have the water already on the property, but we need to pull in from the sewer. And pretty much had that done last time. And that hasn't changed a lot, other than how it interfaces with the addition. So I guess,
So this is an existing water line,
right,
this light blue, is that right? I understand that.
yeah, it is showing.
And then this is the new.
Right, we don't have a sewer line into the property at this point, so,
And that'd be pressure
yes,
to,
yeah, we've done the elevation differences, so there's a grinder involved and things like that, and
That would all be right, correct?
yeah. Pressure, just, I mean. Do they have to put in a manhole?
No, what we typically like to see is, like, if they ran across the street, we put it in a 4-inch line. Have to do 4-inch plastic
That would gravity,
that would gravity.
so they come up to there.
Then they could connect down with the one. What we run into problems with these pressurized line is when you stuff the line into our sewer main, we've had people stuff their inch and a quarter line too far into the main, starts running down, never get it down. So essentially what we do is, okay, do just a regular 4-inch lateral across the street. Then do your connection downsize to your inch and a quarter line. 2 inch, however, whatever size, connect down at that point and then run it. Okay.
Yeah.
and the grinder, our proposal, we put it on the corner of the new addition, because that makes more sense.
That'll be, I don't know, this guy's.
Yeah,
Where do you actually start having gravity? This line, you never, is it gonna be forced all the way through?
yes,
Okay. I think what we're saying though is this 4-inch service would be gravity to here,
right,
so that it'd be forced up to somewhere here. Okay. And then gravity across the. Yeah, just you point out something.
Oh, yeah. And when we get to that point, service will give you the details of the special on that ban, sewer ban, you don't allow pushing those on anymore. Same thing, people pushing those too far in, can't,
And that's a 15 inch.
That is a, that's
15-inch concrete pipe.
lines,
Tiny.
and to let you go right into the top of that, instead of having to put it inside of it. Okay.
so as we get into that detail, that'll be. So my question is, do we do that as a separate permit
that you'll require a road cut permit, but we won't allow that until the building permit is ready to go, and that means the addition plans are approved.
Okay.
So we can see where the bathrooms are and understand.
Yeah, we have all that here.
So,
Right now.
yeah, it's kind of a look between Tyler and myself on that, once this is all approved.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because this is a total site plan, so this is a different site plan that we approved, so it has to go.
Yeah,
Okay, so you need site plan approval first. Site plan approval first, and then you could start working on your building and excavation. for road cut.
Yeah, but then these two will coordinate with the building permit and encroachment permit to do those.
So
But the site plan has to go through, because we approved one,
long back, yeah,
and so that one's expired. So the regulations that have to be met now are gonna be in this 11.22 for a site plan. So the application and process is, this is the pre-application meeting that we're having now. And we have to make sure that you've met all of the requirements for compliance in the application. So that's under 11.22.030.
okay. So is it fairly straightforward what we need to do to get that approved?
It's all outlined here, to
Okay.
just go through this
Okay.
checklist, and make sure that you've got all of that on your plan. And all the requirements there. The one question or concern I have from the plan is what this access road looks like and what the fire concerns are, or what the.
I have that same question as well. And parking, what is parking?
So you've got a new concrete parking pad.
Right.
And you're going to include. This doesn't exist, right? It's this new concrete, I'm assuming that's new, that
Yes,
would be new.
that would be new.
And then what, is this a different material where this is etched out or
Those are concrete
pathways?
pathways,
Existing,
yes. And then concrete up against the building, the existing building.
So were those pathways part of the old nursery?
Yes.
so I guess, do we have, or Ryan, what do you need as far as fire access? For what they're trying to do, because you guys are proposing to keep it kind of the road-based dirt road back to there.
At this point, yes.
It's been that way, so I don't really see much of a change in fireplace. I mean, yeah, we can make, just by a little addition, doesn't, do change anything else, but we'd be okay.
Don't,
I don't see anything in the land use, do you know if you have anything?
I don't think so.
Okay,
I think we've always been kind of if it provides the emergency vehicle act.
This will be business. Back there on that side.
on that site or that science?
You guys own all the,
All of this.
all of this, yeah. Yeah. But is there another business currently operating other than for things?
Some of the greenhouses are being used as greenhouses. Yeah.
For. Yeah, for sale. Or just.
They just grow.
But are,
It's a commercial.
it's a commercial,
Yeah.
that you're seeing the greenhouses too?
Just the two.
Sure.
The which building,
This is the big long one right here and the one right across.
this here, those two buildings are being leased.
Yeah.
And somebody's using them as a greenhouse.
Of course, that's seasonal.
Which is the grandfather part of it, but how much does that stay plan? To change it.
As long as they're, does the person that's leasing this have a business license? Or Harrisville has it? I'm assuming that's okay. We probably want to check and make sure if it's a licensed business or if there's business taking place there. To.
It's not a retail business.
There's not business taking place there, he just grows the plants there and then relocates them. Yeah, he just, like I said, he just grows them there, and this is that to grow them into, then he takes them to his own place and sells them. Okay.
I think that's not apartments.
Yeah, it is.
Just an agricultural use.
Is that piece paid?
This is. But to your point, how much is that having? This access? Do they bring heavy trucks in, transport, or just regular CJ souls for us?
Yeah. There's ample space for them to do.
And they park right in front of the greenhouses too.
How much, sorry, didn't mean to butt in. I'm hearing that some of this has been subleased out. How much, as we move along in time, is this something that's going to be more common to sublease these out? Because I think once that starts happening, we're changing the intended use of this and may create some zoning issues if we're not careful.
I don't anticipate that.
So these are just abandoned buildings not being used.
Their greenhouses not being used at this point. I don't know that. If the grower wanted to expand into a building, we'd talk to him about that, I'm sure.
Were those buildings not being used at one time for the housing of animals? Wasn't that what they were being used as? That's why we're doing the expansion now.
Just this, just that.
Just the existing building there,
Okay,
yeah. They're not housing animals in the other buildings. They're just a kid.
Yeah.
There might be a raccoon too.
So if I'm understanding correctly, just to review, you're operating Furever Friends out of this building.
Yes.
And then you're leasing this building and this building to a commercial grower that's transporting it out of Harrisville for retail sales. And the rest of these buildings are just they're vacant. All of them are vacant and no activity is taking place. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's correct.
I guess our concern is that your intention was to ever lease these or run any business out of these that you would then have to come back in so that we can redress. Because it might impact the traffic that's going in here, it'll impact the access to the parking, things like that, just so that we're aware of what's going on with the property.
So if the existing grower say moved into
Yeah,
that.
expanded
building,
their business, yeah.
then we need to talk to you about that. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
That's exactly what we're saying. Okay, so for purposes of this meeting and how to make application for the site plan, the code requirement is here.
Right.
So you'll just want to checklist all of those things, make sure. If you feel like you've met all of the final application requirements as well, which is the second section down here, C, then we can give preliminary and final in the same plan. But it has to be a clean memo from the engineer's office saying that there aren't any outstanding requirements.
Okay. And those are all covered in this application process, so the engineers, they need to deal with. And then we move forward.
Right,
Okay,
but it does have to be submitted to the city 15 days before the meeting that you want to attend and get approval.
and when is that meeting? Yeah.
The next one is October.
October 16th.
October 9th.
That's small.
So the deadline for submission is September 20th. September 25th.
So just a quick question, Jenny, are we on the preliminary or are we moving on to final on this? Are we,
This would be preliminary, but if they meet all the requirements for final.
Yeah, I think, Brandon, I think it's a small enough site plan and project that you can probably do preliminary and final. at the
and
same
final,
time.
same time? Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So long as everything check off, so we don't have any outstanding issues.
Right. Okay.
So this is the same code section that both preliminary and final.
Okay.
That's section 1122, right?
1122-030 is the application and process.
Okay.
Any questions for
I think you've answered them.
Okay, I hope so.
The change for us is that gravity addition to the sewer line, and that's pretty easy to deal with, so.
Building.
No, and we have engineered building drawings for this already, so we're good to go as far as that.
You can get those into our portal, we have a building permit.
Okay. Yeah,
Hypothetically, you could start that process of review and have it just sit pending until land use is approved. So that's something that you're interested in, just to keep it all.
okay. So that's separate from this, okay.
Two separate processes, site plan, building.
Okay, so we can send this over to the building permit people. Or, and, it's in PDF files, I assume that's fine. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I phone from here, so you can reach out. If you have questions. It's online, it's on the website, building department.
Okay. That's great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Get this stuff in as quickly as we can.
Sounds good.
Yeah, last time you guys had to rethink the whole thing, and I think it's turned out better for us, so.
Day at a time, right?
Yes, indeed. Thank you.
Walmart here. Hey,
Yes.
hey. So we have requested that you come here to our project management team meeting so that we can talk about what it looks like for your food truck. Is that an appropriate term or? or
It is a trailer,
temporary business?
yes, it's seasonal business, operating out of a trailer.
So my understanding is it's over in this section. Do you wanna show us where?
Yeah, we're looking, it actually kind of depends on how easy it is to access utilities where we would go on their property. So anywhere along that 325 East Street,
Street.
yeah, if you're looking at the right there.
Here?
Yeah, and if that didn't work, then we would go across the street in front of the entertainment mart to the north. Because the property owner also owns that section, so in that area also,
Somewhere.
yes. I had a contractor come and look around the utilities, because I'm not quite sure where the sewer is. There's a fire hydrant right there on 325 East on the south. And now there's that Walmart fuel station there. One of the questions the contractor wanted me to ask is if we could put on a hydrant meter to access water. Cities and other cities like that, it's a question said to.
Well, I guess it's a bond, it's a question. I don't, it's a private. I don't believe it is. It's a master meter development, so. But. So. Can't say yes or no to that.
Okay.
Reason being. Is because it's gonna impact. The overall site. Everybody that's associated with this utility billing. So now that, you know, again, that's kind of.
Yeah.
And I would go up again, file on bottom of this.
Yeah.
They would allow, even though it's privatized. They don't like the look, of just a hydro meter out there. What's that do? And does that strip, if there is ever an issue inside there? That hydro meter being one side, does that strip and they're using that?
Yeah, I'm not a fire guy, but the construction guy is like, it doesn't restrict use to the fire department, it's all true or not, but that's what he told me.
But I'm not on that.
Yeah. I've been talking with the property manager, and yet he on COVID, so he couldn't be here, so I'm working with them, so if it's the property manager that has to give that permission, I can certainly work that route. So,
Yeah, I would double check with Bonimus, they're usually at this meeting, but couldn't be here today, but I'd get in touch with them as far as anything's told there.
So essentially, I mean, if you're looking for a sewer connection, is that due to a restroom? Is that due to?
There is no restroom,
Just
we are a trailer, but we connect to utilities the whole time. Which the health department is going to view us as a brick and mortar, as a seasonal business, as long as we're to all the utilities. And that's kind of where we want to be, because we set up, in some places, tents, tables, chairs, we don't want that business, at all over during an operating season, so, yeah.
That's the other part. And this is just going back to the utilities. Is. We have old plans of conceptual, if that's exactly how it went in. But we don't.
And the property manager has no plans, because they switched hands,
Yeah.
none of that went, so they have no idea.
Completely privatized, I mean, it's an old plan, they down place,
If we, yeah,
if we still have.
still,
They were kind of hoping that. Because the Walmart fuel station went in, that maybe you had some sort of plan showing some supervisions there.
They show, they have something Walmart. But I'm still trying to understand. If. It's all tied into one. Or is.
Well,
private street.
well, right, but the fuel station, if I remember right, their sewer, they took it up here.
Back up, yeah,
And there's a sewer
yeah,
line that kind of goes in front of that main drag.
Yeah.
So I think they tied in their sewer.
They were straight up there.
Yeah.
So
but. Saying is. If it's. All the properties inclusive under one. Utility bill. you could possibly look to see if maybe you could run over to where Walmart's. So.
Keeping in mind, that's quite a distance from here.
I'm also under the impression that Walmart property is separate from.
It is.
And that's what I thought. So again, that's what I don't know, how the utilities for these other parcels come in.
They run out, the black roof building right here,
Yeah.
runs out the back.
It runs out to Washington, and I'd imagine those others run out to 7.
From Petco and.
Yeah, I would think they run out to 700. So we have to sewer main. So if that's the case, there's real no sewer.
I would have to go up on that corner, of Washington Boulevard and try and get up to there.
Won't happen because Washington, you got me that whole way out of Washington last year. That was a 4-year moratorium. So you best that actually go looking at it would be the entertainment parking lot and going up in that strip next to and clear out to 700.
It's a long run.
That is a lot.
Yeah,
That's a subway, right? Okay.
the subway's on that.
So, so he's gonna have, what, separator somewhere to service. So I would imagine, based off parking lots, I bet it's right there.
Correct.
As I said, subway there, and then there's a Domino's down to the south.
Yeah, they have them too.
But you'd have to go, well,
Yeah, for,
no, if there's no restroom, they could go back in the point.
Cause they're
is
just,
there, is the whole place on a, what kind of type of food truck is it for trailer?
It's just gonna be gray water. It's custard and Italian ice.
Okay.
So no. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's a franchise. There's 2 locations in Cache County and Bogan City. There's the managed to do in Idaho and then down to Provolone. But yeah, it's just for washing ice cream scoops or buckets out and hands. So, and then we do a restroom agreement with the businesses in the area for our employees.
That's helpful for sure.
Yeah.
That. Don't have that separator, there's the mark.
so just one utility connection probably wouldn't warrant a full site plan amendment to the site plan. If you're able to get Bonita Vista and the distance isn't too great to connect to the sewer. The concern is that if it gets a little more complicated than that, then you have to tear up existing parking requirement.
There's a lot of parking.
Yeah.
The property manager said we've got ample parking and I approached that, but then they're like, we were actually going to do something.
It's been a concern in the past. We've had to do some calculation with Walmart because they expanded.
Right.
Drop off.
Right on that spot that I do want, right in front of Subway, they have been doing fireworks stands there seasonally, but not food trucks, so. So it's 525 north and 320, they're all private roads.
It's all.
Okay.
Files trying to find some drawings, but I have like the North Street connect, or like drawings, they don't have the site, I can't find the site here, like, for Walmart.
Yeah, I think it was one by career. But then a few years ago, these new property managers bought it and they did not get any of the plants when it's like.
We can look,
For me.
we can look in our archives and see if we have some there.
God,
If we do something great.
Right. I mean, we can't pay a company to run a camera down and try and see how close they can get to crack up peak out sewer lines, but if they're Walmarts. I mean, that's a lot farther, so we to somehow get close to that fuel station line if they're running huge line, because it's incredibly expensive for a food truck.
Right, yeah, but that would be up to you. You are correct. Walmart did purchase, they had water issues under their parking lot years ago. They decided to redo their parking lot, had to put a new fill under it. They purchased the property. So their investment went to their building. So they used to be leasing from the same company and now they don't. So I guess going from here is you would need to locate where the closest sewer connection is. And then back after you located that and talk about what that looks like. And then in the meantime, you can get a hold of Bonavista and ask them whether they would allow a fire meter, water meter on the fire.
Yeah, just save on that utility, I still have to get power out there. So
Yeah, trying to see where the light pole is.
there is a power station, I think, on that. I can't remember if it's up at a fuel station at Walmart or across the street on that, it's just little beans, but that's probably the closest one, unless somehow I could tie it to what
I just didn't,
the building already has.
I just didn't know if they had some lights out there, maybe like do that.
There are light poles in the parking lot, but not enough power to service my freezers. Yeah.
They're not next time, possibly all season.
Yeah, so I need at least 150 amp, and then some of the busier locations have added like a bowling barn on site for some storage. And added like another freezer in there, but that's way down from this business location that I can't keep up with storage outside the trailer, so.
So possibly the better solution to answer from our side is to have all that information from you on where those utility connections and what they look like, so we can determine how much impact it's gonna have on this site. Because our role in this, because it's an entire privatized system, our role is, are you making enough changes to warrant the planning commission to do a review on it?
Okay.
And certain amounts of change are allowed without having the planning commission involved in. But that depends on how far you have to run utilities, how many utilities you're gonna have to connect to. So that's a little bit difficult for us to answer today.
Okay.
But maybe that gives you some direction of where to look. And if we do have some plans, we'll get in touch with you. If we can locate any drawings or anything.
That would be great.
That's awesome, but I don't know how accurate they are. So I've got some utility plans or their site plan around the Walmart, those pads up there. I can send those to you.
Probably 2,000 or 2,000.
Yeah, it says 99.
Okay.
It shows like, well, I mean, it doesn't, I don't see this plan though that I'm looking at doesn't show any of the utilities over by that subway building, about 455. This is, I guess, more. Wall. And it does show like an 8-inch water main stubbing in over by the 585. Walmart sewer stops kind of in front of their building. It doesn't extend all the way.
What we could do is we could go back to the site plan approval for these two. And see if we have any documents related to that approval. I don't know what will be, no promises on what we'll find. But we could look that up and see if we have any kind of drawings that were approved at that time in our files. Then we can provide those to you.
Yeah, because I wonder, did these ones, did like this site and that site have separate site plan approvals?
Yeah, it sounds like they would have to, but
They weren't built as impacted. Walmart.
they were here for site. I'm not 100% sure, but. At some point, whether they were built with Walmart or built separately, they had their own site plan. They had a site plan approval. And so if we
Yeah,
can
just
locate
curious.
any documents that support that, we can provide those.
There's a Hastings back in the day.
Yeah.
It's been a long.
It would probably.
Used to go get our Chiefs and beats there.
Because that was a Deseret book originally,
Oh,
so it may be under Deseret book site plan. That was probably the major tenant at the time it was built. Because the subway was Blimpies before that, so we have some history we can look up, and if we can provide anything, we're happy. But in the meantime, if you want to go down your route, find out Just, where your closest sewer connection is, and where you're gonna tap into power. Then you can come back to this meeting next month, second Thursday. And we can have it, but if you get it prior to that, send it out through email, that discussion on whether it's gonna trigger a site plan.
Okay. But Harrisville City doesn't have any problem with business model. This-
No, we don't have any issue with the operating business there.
All right. Well, that's good, that's good.
Our incentive to have you come here was to make sure that you were doing enough change to the site plan, we went through the appropriate channels to approve that.
Yeah, so essentially, I'm just looking at what would be an RV hookup, right? And but I don't know how much construction it's gonna take to put that right.
Exactly.
Or if I somewhere else that's, but it's important. Really. So, okay. A contractor told me to ask a question. I don't even know what it means, so maybe you guys speak his language. He said, I mean, it's what we've been talking about, if you have any bills for the area that might give us some ideas.
That's
Seven foot.
That's what we're talking about.
Okay, so we already answered that one. Okay,
Yeah, we have anything. And we've got your email from your application.
okay. And I guess some of our other franchises have just been able to do like an agreement, run bar hose for another business or an outside faucet. Is that something that, do you like, if Subway had an outside connection?
Essentially, it's advertised, it's mastered here before it even goes into this.
Okay,
So again, how you HOA or how you property manager wants to handle that building.
that would be the same with power then too, right?
Power.
I just don't want to do anything. It's like, we're not gonna let you.
It was you soon. But again, it would increase the utility fees.
Right,
And however you guys
negotiate.
to go into that, that's, that's a civil.
But if the health department issue
Yeah.
that, we don't break the date thoroughly.
Well, I used the health department because they apparently don't. Food truck to utilities is a new thing for them, so we're working through that. We worked through it in other health department districts, but yeah, it's kind of a non-conforming business model for what's happening. But get through it. That's great information. Didn't know those roads were private. And that gives me some direction there. So hopefully you guys are able to find something that gives me some direction where utilities are. Otherwise, I'll been hired, I need to try and find it myself, so. Okay. Like,
Thank you.
thank you very much.
The last thing we have on our agenda, and I just wanted on public record, that's why I added it to the agenda. So in July, we received a petition to amend the Clustered Development Ordinance. And during that discussion, we decided we would move that forward to planning commission that they're concerned to have a affordable housing ordinance or to repeal and replace the cluster ordinance. Its applicability to the city existing open space that would be developed, it's not really conducive to 10 acres or more. We don't have that many parcels left that are larger than 10 acres. The applicant at first wanted to move it forward and then decided to amend the petition to go along with what the city's recommendation, thank you, was for repealing and replacing the cluster ordinance. So I just wanted to tell this team that formally they have amended their petition for that and in the city's direction. So we will not forward or move or have a public hearing or be amending the cluster development ordinance. So
But it's gonna stay in.
it'll stay in the ordinance until we repeal and replace. And I have I've been working with a individual who has an affordable housing ordinance that's a draft. And then I'm of a mind to kind of hold off till after this legislative session and see if they're gonna do any other land use mandates. So that I don't have to just have that adopted and I go through again. So I'll probably not take any action on anything until February or March of next year. Probably March after the session ends, to make sure that we don't have to redo what we just did.
Yeah, good idea.
And if they make more land use changes and restrictions or regulations, then we can address those in the same process. So, all right, we are adjourned.
You didn't have to agree, Tucker.
Yeah.